Okay, we are almost done with our new graphics, but there is one more that we need to address, and that is the click here to begin screen. Actually, it's just a click to begin, but you get the idea. It is our introduction screen or our title screen. Now, we could easily spend hours working on this, and we're not going to do that. We're going to keep things simple. I mean, I could have Zach go over into Maya and model out the spaceship and one of the mines and then set up some sort of, really cool 3D render, bring that back over here, but now let's go ahead and keep Canon simple. It'd be nice to get the game's title into the title screen. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, this is not really a title screen. You were right the first time. It really is just a click to begin screen.
Now, to be honest, we actually talked about not including any sort of video going over creating a title screen, but at the very last moment, it was like, all right, we'll throw something at them. But we really wanted to leave this for you guys to go out and experiment with creating something else. So if you just live in a world where you're completely clueless about working with a paint package, then you can follow along with us if you have Photoshop or if you want to go and get the 30-day trial version from Adobe. And if you happen to have any skills whatsoever, then create a title screen.
Yeah, have a little fun with it.
So, Zach, let us go ahead and create something very simple.
All right, well, let's see. First off, the size of this particular image, as you guys probably already know, is 640 by 480.
Oh, they know.
Yeah. So I'm just going to create right on top of this this image. Okay. Let me tap F, and we'll make this all full screen. So we are looking, I'm thinking maybe a little space scene.
Yeah.
Some stars or something.
Yeah,
so,
with a black background so that it does indeed match when they start the game.
So I'm going to hit D and then X to make sure that my default colors are there, and then swap the foreground and the background and hit Control Delete to just go ahead and fill in with a black background.
With this, let's go and do a file save as, just so that we don't accidentally replace something.
Sure. And let's. I don't know where this is trying to save.
We are actually way over, and so go ahead and just type down there in the file name area D:\\. Remember where you were saving your stuff?
It was in E recording, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, E:\\.
Recording, and then it was \XNA, and then it was \PNGs, and then here's the originals.
All right.
So we can name this, and we don't want a PNG. We'll go ahead and do a Photoshop file, and we'll call this title screen?
Sounds good.
Or Canon _ title screen. So whoa, my caps lock's on. Thanks. Canon _ title.
Okay.
There we go.
Logan's going to have all sorts of fun anyways because we've gone in there and renamed everything for the most part.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you bring on a third-party artist at the very last minute.
There you go.
Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do is turn this into a star field, and I'm going to do that on a separate layer. So let's create a new layer, and of course click the little new layer button, and let's double-click, change the name to stars. And there's going to be several of these by the time we're done. Now I'm going to get my paintbrush. Let's just do the pencil tool. It'll just be easier. Now, my brush size is currently set to 1. Of course, you can click up here and take the master diameter and set it down to 1, or you can use the left and right bracket keys to change the size. Whatever it is, leave it at 1. Make sure your color is white, and just have some fun for a couple of minutes, and click out some stars. Now, in general, I like, if I'm doing something like this where I've got a title screen and I'm trying to keep focus in the center of the image, I will try to keep most of my stars constrained to the central area. I won't get like a really heavy concentration out here at the edges. And I don't like that guy. He's too close to the edge. Be careful. Make sure your mouse is not moving when you click so that you don't, drag out and act, a little streak or whatever. So stop moving the mouse and then click and then move. If you're using a Wacom tablet, that's a little trickier. If you're using a Wacom tablet, then stop. And make sure, put some of these a little closer to one another so that there's a little bit of kind of a random look to it. Okay, so there's our initial set of stars. Now what I'm going to do is just duplicate this layer, so we'll drag the layer down onto the new layer button. And for a little bit of differentiation, we'll go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, and then we'll just kind of offset this a little bit. And we can take the opacity on it and pull it back a little so we have stars of different values. Let's hold down the Alt key. Now notice I have the Move tool handy. So hit the V key if you don't have that handy. Hold down Alt and we can just drag another copy. Again, if you want to just kind of change things around a little bit, you can maybe flip vertical on this one. And then drag out another one. Don't be afraid to drag them way off the screen.
Set different opacities for each set.
And then just mess around, change sizes around, change opacities around a little bit. You're just creating variation, that's all. And maybe we'll take that very first layer that we've got here, and we'll copy that off one more time, and I'm going to hit Control-T with it. And did that even work? Do I have focus? Here, thank you. Now hit Control-T. And we'll shrink those in a little bit and press Enter. So we got some more bright ones, and we can maybe move them off to the left, hold down Alt, and drag another copy. So we just have a few more brighter stars there in the middle. So you can continue that all day if you want to. Now what I'm going to do is add a few accent stars that are a little bit brighter. And to do that, first off, I've got a whole lot of layers of stars here. If you want to leave these all on their individual layers to tweak later, by all means go ahead. An easy way to do that would be to maybe select the topmost layer, hold down Shift, and then select the bottom so you get all of the layers of stars, and then just drag those into a little group and call this base stars. Har har. And I'm probably the only person who thought that was cool.
Other than me.
Other than Jason. All right, so now let's go ahead and grab our paintbrush this time. So no longer a pencil, our full-on paintbrush. And I've got my brush size set to about 3 pixels. That'll probably do. And I'm going to take this new layer I've created, and we're going to change its name to accent stars or detail stars, or just, pretty stars. I don't care what you call it, really. And we're going to paint a big star here, and a big star here, and a big star here. Now, you can't really tell them apart from any of the other stars. They kind of blend in. What we're going to do is take this layer, and we'll double-click over on the right-hand side of it, and we're going to add an outer glow to it. Take your color and just set that over to white. And let's take the spread, and we'll lift that up a little bit. Oh, they get this big white puff around them. You can take their size and kind of push that out. And the idea is that you just kind of sit here and play with this setting until you get something that looks kind of nice, like a little halo around these stars. We'll pull that down a little bit, pull our size back in. Maybe something like that looks pretty good. So it does kind of make those stand out. Now that one is just a little too close. We're going to grab our eraser, and I'm going to erase him out, and hit the B key to get the brush tool out again. And we'll just drop in a few. Just don't get too heavy-handed with these. They do look really cool, but you can overdo it pretty quickly. So there we go, just a few accent stars. So now from here, let's turn this into an actual title screen. So we need the title of our game. So I'll grab my type tool. Now I'm using the font, a font called Xerod. I have no idea where this came from. It was on this computer.
Logan was just using it.
Yeah, that is all I know. So don't PM me and ask me. I have no idea. My font size is currently 62, and I'm set to type from the center. And we'll just type out, make sure we're in all caps. Canon, ooh, which kind of looks like Dannon, which reminds me of yogurt. So cool, there's our title, but we could make it a lot prettier than that. So let's take our Canon layer. Again, we're going to double click on the right hand side and play with some layer effects. Let's move this up to where we can see it a little bit. And I'm going to do something kind of interesting here. All we're going to use are layer effects. We're not actually going to use the pixels of the type themselves. We're going to take our blending mode options here, and we have our fill opacity. This is different from real opacity. Real opacity makes this fade away, as you can see here. Fill opacity makes it fade away, but with special privileges in that you can still make the layer style show up. So now if I was to add an outer glow, you see the outer glow, but you don't see the original pixels. So if I come up here to original opacity and pull that down, everything disappears. So you can kind of have a little bit of fun with that. Let's come back down here to outer glow, and let's set this to a kind of aquamarine color like we were using earlier. And let's play with some settings. I'll push up the opacity a bit. Let's increase the size. Maybe push up the spread. I'm going to take my technique and set it from softer to precise. And that's a little heavy for precise. So maybe pull that down a bit. That could be a little too green. Maybe push it a little more toward blue. Now I'm just being picky. Okay, so there we go. Maybe just a notch smaller or bigger. I don't know. You just play with it until you get what you like. Now, you can, go on and of course play with this a little bit on your own too. You could do an inner glow if you wanted to that had maybe the same color or similar color. And now what you end up with is sort of like a softened, almost like soft neon kind of look. But I'm going to leave that up to you guys. I'm not actually going to add that. We're going to leave that nice, crisp, cut-out look on the inside. So that'll pretty much do it for our title. The canon. Woo. Now, let's put an underline under that so it looks kind of nice. I have my line tool over here on the left in the toolbar. Let's just go ahead and click on that. And my weight is currently set to 12. That's probably a little bit extreme, but we'll try it anyways. Let's create a new layer, which we will name underline in reverse caps. That's clever. I'll leave it that way. And I'm just going to hold down Shift and drag out a line that goes right under everything. And we'll hit V to grab the Move tool, and I'll maybe slide that down a little bit. Now, over here on your Canon layer, right-click on the right-hand side and choose Copy Layer Style. And then up here on Underline, right-click and choose Paste Layer Style, and you can put that exact same effect on really quickly. Now, that underline looks a little heavy to me. So what I'm going to do is just take the layer and hit Control-T. And if we zoom in a little bit, which I got to have my navigator visible for, we have our little handles here that I can just pull these down. There we go. And we can shrink that down a bit, not too much. Let's say that works. Okay, and now it's a little bit far away, so make sure you have your Move tool, and you can just use the arrow keys and kind of nudge it up underneath. Maybe something about like so. Okay, so we have our game title in place, and some information would be nice. So they need to click on this screen in order to begin the game.
That's right.
So let's do a click to begin line. So I'll just grab the text tool again, and I'm just going to type out the whole thing. Make sure you're still in all caps, and we'll just say click to begin, and it goes way off the screen, but don't worry about that. Now over here on the right-hand side, you can see I have my character window open. This is available by going under Window and choosing Character. And it's just like the options that are available up here at the top when you have the text tool selected, but it's just got a few more things to it. It's just a little easier to use, and I find myself using this a lot. I'm going to resize this text, and you can do this by using the drop-down and choosing one of the prefabricated sizes. You can punch in a value, of course, into the text field if you like, or you can also left drag on the little icon for the size. And if you drag to the left, things get smaller. If you drag to the right, they get bigger. So it's a nice little trick. Say 24 actually looks pretty good. Move that. I'll hold down Shift, slide that up just a little bit. Maybe take the underline and the canon and use the arrow keys and nudge those down just a tad. Okay, now let's do something to the click to begin to make it a little more fancy. We could do like a kind of a scan line effect. Now to do scan lines, first off we need a new document. So let's go File, New. And this will be an interesting document. It's going to have a width of 1 pixel and a height, well, depending on the thickness you want for your scan lines. I'm just going to do 2 pixels. So it's a very, 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 very small document. And we'll zoom way in on it. Hello. Now, one of these pixels is going to be white, and the other one is going to be black. That's really all there is to it. You can also make one transparent and the other one black, depending on how you want to do that, but I'll let you experiment with that. So, one white, one black. Very easy. Now we're going to go to Edit and come down to Define Pattern, and I'll name this Small, I'm still in those reverse caps, Small Scan Lines. And we can close that. We don't really need to save the changes. It was really easy to create. But now we can step into our Click to Begin layer, double-click to go to its layer effects. Let's move up to where we can see this a little bit better. And we can go to Pattern Overlay. And at the very end, click, and you see I've done this a few times. We have our scan lines. So now they're visible. It'd be nice if that was the same color as, our Canon, because the white and black's throws you off a little bit. So go to Color Overlay. And we could just maybe real carefully grab a color that's nearby and then start messing with it. But of course it just covers that color up with everything, and that's no good. We can, from here, change our blend mode over to multiply, and there we go. We have our scan lines applied at the same time. So that pretty much takes care of that. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
No, the whole idea was just to throw something quickly together that Logan can use in the next video to get these graphics into our XNA game. And you guys, as I said at the very beginning of this video, are welcome to explore and be creative and see what you can come
Have all
up with.
sorts of fun with it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So that's going to wrap up this video. A very big thanks to Zach for joining us and creating these graphics.